I recently sat down with Vanessa Frazier, founder and director of Christ Teens, to talk about their upcoming Disciples in Education conference and their mission to empower Christian teachers to exercise their faith in public schools without breaking the law. Ms. Frazier, how are you doing today?
I am great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Glad to have you here with us today, visiting our studios.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here.
Would you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm actually planted here in South Carolina from Sacramento, California. So I have found my way here over the last 12 years. I love South Carolina, and it just so happens that God had a mission for me once I got here. So I'm fulfilling that mission right now.
Okay. Your organization, Christ Teens, tell us a little bit about the organization.
Well, we started off as just simply an after-school program for teenagers in the northeast area of Columbia. But it was very evident after a while that we needed an army of individuals to really start working with these kids. And when I talk about that army, I'm talking about Christian men and women to really help develop the mind of Christ in these kids, to get them to start thinking in a way that made sense, you know. And so since we were in the school setting, what better audience or what better army than to go after public school teachers, those who are built up in the things of God and understand the ways of God, and who could really just talk to these kids in a way that would help them progress over the years. But speak the truth. Speak the truth to these kids. They have their attention, and that's what we want to gain in order to move this next generation forward.
Okay. You guys have an event coming up, upcoming conference. Tell us a little bit about that conference.
That is the Disciples in Education Conference. We are introducing in the state of South Carolina Christian professional development for public school teachers. And what that comes down to is really working with teachers, encouraging them, empowering them to walk out their faith in public schools without breaking the law. So there's a lot of misunderstanding out there of what we can and cannot do in public schools, where on that day we're going to come together and answer those questions. Christian teachers, principals, administrators. We have Ben Larson from Christian Educators Association International. He's coming to explain the law so that if anyone has any questions about their rights as a Christian in public schools, he's going to be there to address those questions.
Okay. Could you tell us a little bit about who can join your organization, or how does it work? Is it a membership base, or can anybody attend the conference?
It is not membership based, so anyone can attend. There will be non-believers who may be interested in attending this conference, and that's great. That person is probably someone who wants to see something different happen in public schools. They see the statistics. They know our schools are in trouble, but they're willing to try biblical integration, just different ways of going about each day in their public school. So everyone is welcome.
Okay. Could you give us a little breakdown of what that conference would entail, what the day would kind of break down as?
It's on July 31st at the Archives and History building here in Columbia, South Carolina. On that day, you will have the substitute, the teachers, the Ben Larson from CEAI. You will have those who will testify on how they really walk and talk with God in public schools, how they legally take steps to make a difference in how they go about their curriculum, their instruction, bringing order to their classroom, all of those little things that are important to teachers, what they do and how they do it. We're not just going to tell you, we're going to show you so that you can take that back with you. We're not going to load you up with a bunch of PowerPoints. We want you to get it into your hearts and minds. This is how I can legally do this, and I think most teachers will be surprised to how easy this really is.
Okay. Now, are you a current educator?
I am in the public schools. My name badge actually says substitute. So with that, I get to travel into many different schools and just be a part of what is happening there. That's where my research is. So I've been doing this for about 20 years, and from international schools to here in the U.S., and just walking and talking with God and figuring out, well, what is it that will make a difference? And we have to really just bring them back. Just going back to one simple book to figure out what we must do to come against the achievement gaps and the economic gaps, and everything you want to talk about in education actually comes down to that one book.
Okay. Being an educator that's well traveled, what do you see coming to South Carolina and given the issues and the challenges we face with our educational system? What, in your personal opinion, do you feel is the biggest challenge with South Carolina's education system?
Coming from a Christian perspective is just our fear. There is a high level of fear in being who you are. It's like you go to church on Sunday and then you just leave it right there. And I'm talking about pastors, evangelists, teachers who work in public schools, and they put up a wall as soon as they walk in that door, because there is that fear that they would lose their job if they say this or they say that. The good news is we're not called to preach in these public schools. We're not called to teach in the manner when it comes to the things of the Bible and things like that. No, we're called to educate. And that's huge in the sight of God. From Him will come wisdom, understanding, knowledge, skills, and abilities. We just have to take His word for it. We have to just be intentional about putting Him into all that we're doing and saying, Lord, help us with our public schools. These kids, the mind of a teenager, a young adult, even an elementary school student, is not just going to change because we have walked into the building. We have to do a little bit more, and that's what the conference is about, teaching them the more, what we can do.
Wow. Before I let you go, can you give us some contact information about how do people find out or get in contact with you or register for the conference?
Sure. disciplesedu.com is our website. Just on that website, you'll find a tab that says Contact Us. Okay. So disciplesedu.com. You can contact us through that avenue, and we'll be sure to get back to you.
Okay. Ms. Frazier, thank you for taking time to sit down with me today.
Thank you for the interview.